Thank
welcome.
you.
I guess first, I guess the formal introduction, Renisha, Tasha. I gave Tasha a brief background, and I guess I'll share with everyone until we as we formally introduce Ronisha. But me and Ronisha goes way, 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 way back. I don't want to age us too well, but we met we met many years ago. Freshman orientation, Norfolk State University. Behold the green and gold. And so we have been friends for a very, very, very long time. And I know Renisha is very busy. And so I first want to thank you so, so much for joining us on this much needed platform and conversation. So without further ado, if you want to introduce yourself to everyone.
Sure. So I'm Renisha Pressberry. I go by Nisha. And thank you both for having me on your platform. I think it's a wonderful and amazing thing that you ladies have going on. I refer people to you ladies all the time. I love seeing the events that you guys are doing. So definitely keep it up. If we need more of that positivity out there. So I'm so glad that even with everything that you two have gone through, that y'all found a way to turn it around and to help others. So I really appreciate that, because we need all the help out there. I mean, I am a licensed clinical social worker, but to have people that are not necessarily in the field or went to school for it, but still able to provide that insight, that clarity, that support is very helpful. So I just want to put that out there to you ladies. I am a social worker, of course, like Tahita said, Behold the Green and Gold, Norfolk State University. I have my undergrad in social work as well as my graduate degree. I'm licensed currently in the state of Virginia and in Texas. Texas is home for me, in Houston. I am also a certified substance abuse counselor. I, I mean, like Tahita said, I don't really age myself, but I have over 20 years of experience in the field. Um, let's see what else. I am a boy mom.
Yeah.
I do have two boys.
Yes, yes.
God blessed me with two sons. um, and I love to travel. For fun, favorite color is yellow. I like to put that out there.
Yes, yes, love it. Yeah.
And I've been watching your episodes and the post and everything. So I was so honored to be invited to come on here today. So thank you.
Awesome,
You're
awesome. Well,
welcome,
thank you.
and it is such a pleasure to meet you.
You too.
Yeah, yeah. You know, me and Radisha share some really good times, and we always kind of been supportive of one another. And you go off to college many, many years ago, and it's a lot of people that you have lost contact with, but it is a blessing that throughout the years that we stayed in contact. Me and the boys would come to when you were living in the Virginia Beach area. Me and the boys would come down, and we would spend time together, and so watching the boys grow up together and just evolving. It is a blessing that we stayed connected, and you never know. We would have never known that we were here right now, but I thank God that you're here to support us and to provide us with some insight. So we're gonna hop right in, and before you came on, although like tonight's episode it is okay not to be okay, and we want to give credit where credit's due. Tasha's son, little Jeff, on the sibling episode, we asked, what takeaway and what advice would he give to other siblings, and he stated it's okay not to be okay. And that was just such a powerful statement and such a real statement in a world where a lot of people are suffering in silence. So we kind of wanted to piggyback just a little bit on that substance abuse piece, since we just did on episode 3, the fentanyl. And so with you having that background in the substance abuse counseling, what advice would you give to a parent, caregiver, someone that's kind of watching the behavior changes and may suspect that their child may be doing, pills or some type of drugs? What advice would you give them in terms of seeking help?
Right. And peer pressure is real. From when we were kids, from when our parents were kids, it's even more so now because we have social media, we have all the websites, TikTok, YouTube, all of that. You have the movies. So these kids are seeing this stuff, and like you mentioned on the last episode, it's kind of like they're glorifying it. They're making songs up about Percocet or different things that of course we know is dangerous. Having that open communication with your children. I mean, teenagers, they go off to school one day as cute little 12-year-olds and they come back as a teenager. So, it's hard for them to open up, but I believe keeping that open line of communication with them. Having some information around the house. I say like pamphlets. Just have it laying around the house, maybe stuck to the refrigerator, maybe in their bathroom, just randomly and occasionally. We have to think about, as parents, we're planting the seed. That's all we can do. We can plant the seed, we water it, but when you plant a seed, you don't go right away and start digging it up and see what's going on with it. You have to let it sit. So the only thing we can do is plant the seed and give them the information, and just hope that when it's a time for them to make a decision, they've heard the information from you. They've seen it maybe on the counter in the kitchen. I feel that we have to just be really careful with that age, that teenage era. Because, we've been there. You think that's when you're the most grown up, and we want to give them that autonomy. Exactly. And that independence, but you still want to let them know that you're here for them. With my children, I used to tell them that we had a code word, so they would text it to me if they felt they was in a situation where they didn't want to be in, if it was drugs around or anything like that. And I tell them, just text me that and then put it on me. My mom said she has to come pick me up. I don't know if she's tripping. I'm okay with being the blame on that. But again, I just feel it's that peer pressure. So having that open line of communication with your children.
That's good. That's good. And like you said, and I had mentioned that on the previous live, the pills, and it's being glorified in the music, and this is what the kids are listening to. And unfortunately, you're talking about artists that are rapping about stuff that they're not even doing, but in the kids' mind, it's like, this is the cool thing to do, peer pressure. So that's okay. We lost Tasha.
She'll be back.
I'm not sure what happened. She'll be back with us. But thank you for pointing that out. I just kind of wanted to briefly piggyback on that because I got quite a few responses, and unfortunately, like I had texted you last night, another 15-year-old, lost his life last night to fentanyl. So thank you for giving us your background. I'll bring Tasha back up when she comes back on.
Okay.
I know that Tasha recently moved and she's had some connection issues with her Wi-Fi, so she may have lost signal. But so we'll hop right in. So you gave us a lot of your background. Thank you for sharing that. So with your expertise, why is mental health important? Why would that be important?
Mental health is important because, like you said, it's part of our health. we can't be a whole person if we're not focusing on our mental state of mind. If we're just focusing on the physical, we have to focus on the physical and the mental. I compare it to having a car. We can't just constantly put gas in the car without getting it tuned up. Without checking the oil, without making sure everything is working under the hood. If we constantly are only putting gas in the car, eventually that engine is going to burn out. The same thing with us. If we're constantly going, like, oh, I take my vitamins, I drink my water, but what about your mental health? How is that? I don't have time for that. You know, I have this going on, I have that going on, but you're not sleeping. You're not eating well. You're irritated. You're agitated. You're depressed. You're sad. You're having thoughts of wanting to hurt yourself. If you're not getting that checked out, eventually it's going to come crashing down. And then you're at a state of crisis. Same thing with your car. If you don't get that stuff checked out, if you're not maintaining it, you're stuck on the side of the road somewhere. So mental health is important because it's part of who we are. It's part of our mindset. It's part of the way we think, how we do things, how we process things. So we're not getting that checked out, eventually you're going to crash and burn.
You know, that's good. I actually read a quote, and you know what they're basically saying is mental health is the new wealth. You know what I mean? Because you can have all this money in the world, right, and be financially secure, but like you said, if you're not connecting in and taking care of that mental health piece, then you know, then when everything, okay, so Tasha is back. I'm not sure how we lost her, but we can bring her back up. Okay. So so that's good. I love that analogy that you stated. You know, it's like having the car and you're putting in gas, but everything else is being neglected, but you expect for it to be running at optimum, and it's not. And welcome back, Tasha. I was telling Ronisha and our viewers, I know that you're in a new place and the Wi-Fi is not the greatest, so I figure you might have, I figure you kind of lost connection here. And so Ronisha just, you know, I had asked her, you know, why does she feel as though mental health is important, and she, you know, broke that down. And you know, definitely a lot of people are suffering in silence, you know. And you know, I told Ronisha too, I would like to tap into what can we do to remove the stigma, because it's such a stigma associated to mental health. It's like everyone wants to pretend like they're okay, they're okay,
Mhm.
but as we know, it's okay not to be okay. So do you mind tapping into that, Juanisha? Like, what can we do collectively as a community to remove that stigma that's associated to mental health?
Right. And I want to start with Tasha, with your son saying that was very powerful. And believe it or not, more younger young men and women are coming to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it was 15, 20 years ago, like you said, when you don't talk about your problems. It's supposed to be a big deal to be strong, but you have all this weight that you're carrying around. Mainly during the pandemic, I've noticed a lot of college students were struggling and were coming to therapy. I think with the celebrities and the stars now, even they're promoting it.
Yes.
Taraji P. Henson, she has a platform.
Yes.
Charlemagne from The Breakfast Club, he talks about how he gets his therapy once a week, and he's always promoting therapy.
Yes.
So I think that there is a stigma, but I think that more people are talking about it. I don't think it was as it was back in the day.
So
I
we're
think
coming,
right.
We're putting more light to it, and to your point, like celebrities, as we know, with just like with the bad stuff, celebrities have such an influence that as other people are speaking up. You know, I seen during the pandemic when Michelle Obama actually posted a video about her depression and how she was seeking therapy, and I thought that was powerful, because you look at the former first lady and you're like, well, she has an amazing husband, amazing life, amazing children. What can she be depressed about? And that's just life, you know what I mean?
Right.
Outside may look perfect to everybody else, but you don't know internally what a person's going through. So so that's good. So in your opinion, because a lot of celebrities are bringing light to it's okay not to be okay, and to your point, you're saying that you are. So I guess if you was to look like 10 years back, the population of people that were coming to seek help were typically, I guess, middle-aged, older people, as opposed to the younger generation that is coming. And so that's powerful.
And even with African American men, you know, I talk with them about, talking to someone, and they've been taught, like, no, I have to be strong, and I guess they feel being strong is not talking.
Yes.
You know, a lot of that is generational. Yeah. You know, I just feel as we have more generations, they're becoming more accepting of the fact that, again, like you said earlier, and we talked about earlier, mental health is part of who we are. It's not that it makes anything wrong with us. It's a part of who we are. It's a part of our overall health. You can't take care of one part and neglect the other one and expect to be at 100%.
Right. And you know, if everyone can be 100% honest, it's no one person that has not experienced some type of trauma in their life. So, you know, it's not one of those things where, oh, I don't fit the category of needing counseling. I don't think it's a person. If you're human and you've lived long enough, you've experienced something that is going to require you to get some counseling. Hey guys, everyone, welcome. Lori Ann, I see that you sent a request to join. We're going to roll through some questions with Varnisha, but we certainly will not mind her taking questions towards the end of the conversation. Again, thank you guys. Thanks everyone that has joined us. So, Tasha, do you have the questions as well? Did you want to kick off some questions with Varnisha?
Absolutely. So, Varnisha, I want to just piggyback a little bit on what Tahita was just saying about dealing with depression and things of that nature. So on the grieving side of it, what advice would you give to a spouse or a caregiver of someone who has lost someone close to them in the family, like a spouse to a spouse, a caregiver, to a loved one or something of that nature, that does not, that has not seeked out for any type of help or don't feel that they need any? What type of advice would you give them?
So the type of advice I would give coming from let me go back a little bit, wearing multiple hats. So I'm a friend, I'm a mother, I'm a sister. I'm also a licensed therapist. And even though this is something I went to school for, I've been trained on, when a friend comes to you, and I'm just going to talk about with Tahita, and tells you that, all of that goes out the window. That me being a licensed therapist, my first responsibility I felt was as a friend, to my sister, to my best friend, to someone I've known for almost half my life.
Yes.
And I felt lost. I felt lost because I feel like, oh yeah, I can tell anyone this stuff, because I have that hat on. They're my client. So I think it's just different roles we play. I think as a friend, and Tahita has helped me with this, is just being supportive. And then just to kind of twist a little bit of what I do as a therapist, we have to meet our clients where they're at. Yeah. So if they're not ready for therapy, I can't make someone be ready for therapy. Yes. If they're here and I'm here, this isn't going to work. I have to come to here.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Meet them where they are.
Meet them where they're at. So if someone is telling me they're not ready for therapy, then I will make it more generic. Like, okay, well, what I've read or what I heard is that when people do get therapy, they feel better about themselves, or they're able to do things they weren't doing before. Kind of talking about it from a level where it's not where I'm coming at them.
Because you don't want to seem like you're too aggressive and pushy, because that will make them more withdrawn.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll talk with them about, like you mentioned, the grief. I might say, here's an article I found on grief. Here's a support group that's online, and it's more so like, here's the information.
Right. What you do with it is the
right.
Yeah.
Here's the information. Now, if they decide that, maybe I do need some help, you've already, again, planted that seed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going when they're ready to go, not because you said that they're ready to go.
Right.
And then they already know that they have your support because you've already asked about it. You're still checking in with them. You're making the information available.
Okay. So my next question would be then, so outside of the therapy and getting counseling, what other resources would you provide? Like, because we still need information for like mobile moms and the different moms and stuff like that. And I ask because Tahita knows my story, but I'll share a little bit with you. When I lost my son, Renisha, I went, I was like so depressed. I was diagnosed with PSTD, and they wanted to put me on medication. I saw the therapist and I saw the psychologist, and the therapist and I never really kind of clicked, because when I originally went to her for the first time, she just basically, I didn't feel, and I might have been in my feelings or just really messed up. I can admit to that, but I just didn't feel the empathy, like, like a therapist. And I had never been to a therapist before, but this is, I guess, what I had imagined in my mind it would be like. But she really didn't have a lot for me. Like, she told me, one thing she did tell me to do, she said that I should write my son letters and take it to his grave. And and I guess right off the bat, because we buried my son like 2.5 hours away in Virginia, where my parents grew up. Because we have, land there and, the little town and everything. So I'm like, well, I can't do that
Right.
every day because he's so far away. And but he and I just never like really clicked. And then I tried, I had went online and I had found another support group, and I went to that, and it was like a variety of loved ones there who had lost someone, not necessarily a mother that lost a child. So I couldn't relate with that. And then during that time, I had a lot of people, saying that they understood because they had lost their dad and lost their mom, but it's not the same. So I just gave up. And my husband was just like, well, babe, just, take it easy, do what you do, read your Bible, do this and whatever. But I was angry with God. Like, I didn't understand it. Like, it took me a long time to get past that point. And so God he woke me up out of my sleep one night, and all I could hear was vibrating in my head was, why not you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I gave my son for the whole world. That was my son.
Right.
He was precious to me too.
That's
so
good.
After that, I had to beg God for forgiveness because I was very angry with God. And I go to church. I'm on the choir. I'm on the usher board. I had really was upset with God. Like, why?
And that's totally, it's not a parent in the world, and they lying if they say that didn't cross their mind. Like that.
So after that, Tahita had organized her organization with the Mobile Moms, and I jumped right in head first because here was my friend, here was another mother. I thought maybe someone could relate to me, and I'm telling you, just after a few calls and us getting together and stuff, my husband told me that he saw the change in me. Like, he saw me healing from everything that had broken me down from my son being killed. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we have Mobile Moms, and that's why we want to incorporate that into our journey with this podcast. But like, for other people that may not be a part of the organization, like, what other resources would you recommend? Would you recommend like those groups?
Right. I think, like what you said, it's support is real. Support is real. And when you have someone that has been through a similar situation, or you share a similar story, just having that support, of course, is helpful. With grief therapy, it's a specialty. So I am a licensed clinical social worker. However, my specialty isn't grief. So if someone came in and that's what they were dealing with, I would, of course, talk with them, but I would recommend that they seek someone out that this is what their specialty is, and I can help them find someone that does that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Psychology Today, that is a really good website. I don't know if you've ever used it or referred anyone to it. When you go on Psychology Today, you can filter out what type of therapist you're looking for. Someone that focuses on grief and loss. A female therapist, an African-American therapist, a therapist that does telehealth. It has all of their specialties in their profile. So that you can pick a therapist that you feel would be best for you, that would best fit what you're looking for.
Kind of drill down and tailor-made it to.
Right. And the thing about therapy, and I'm glad you brought that up, Tasha, is that it's like we pick a hairstylist, and you may not like that first one, and you might give them another chance because you're like, okay, I look a little crazy leaving this chair, but and we've all done it.
Oh, listen. Talk about the parents. She's like, you like it?
Girl, you want to be in tears, right? But it's like, okay. And then it's like, no, I'm not going to see her anymore.
Right.
Do you stop getting your hair done, or do you find another stylist?
That's right. Yeah.
You find another stylist.
The need is still there. It's just this one is not able
fitting
to
that
accommodate.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't want to come out here looking like Bozo the Clown, you know.
Right.
I want to be slayed.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, she
Yeah.
turned you around that bag. You're like,
no. You know, we don't have poker faces,
Right.
so it's like, what is
absolutely.
this?
Yeah.
So yes, finding a therapist that fits what it is that you're looking for. And it's okay. It's okay to shop around. And a good therapist is okay with saying, you know what, I don't think this is going to be a good fit for you. I want to see you get better, because it takes a lot.
I had the similar experience, Tasha, where and I think to Marnisha's point, it's not that, you know, therapy is definitely beneficial. It's just finding the one that suits your needs. And, you know, I actually had a bad experience with one too. And, you know, what I realized, I said, you know, the empathy part, because I don't really necessarily need a therapist that has lost a child. I need someone that is empathetic
Right.
to my loss,
Mhm.
and then they're
Right.
able to
Yes.
counsel me through. You know what I mean? And bedside manner is everything.
Right.
Because if I feel as though that you're cold and not receptive,
Yeah.
or you're just you know, monotone, just trying to get through, then
Right.
that's
Checking
not
the
helping me.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah. And energy doesn't lie, you know what I mean?
Right.
Even when you're at your lowest point of in your grief, you can feel like,
Right.
okay, this something's not right here. You
Not
know,
right.
she seems like, you know, am I bothering you, lady? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
yeah, so, you know, to your point, and thank you for you know, pointing that out, Renisha. And one more time with the website.
It's Psychology Today.
Okay,
So
absolutely.
if you just, it might be psychologytoday.com, but if you do a search for Psychology Today, it will come up, and then you can kind of filter out, you know, if your insurance, even everything is pretty much filter out, your location, insurance, and
awesome.
and it even shows like a bio and a profile on each therapist.
Nice.
So you can
That's
Yeah.
good.
that.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. You know, time goes by so fast, and I don't want to drag this this live out.
Yeah,
And this has
you know, we can be here all day.
Yeah,
So, but I know.
absolutely. And then, you know, being as though you're in California, like it's almost
I know it's still nighttime out
Yeah,
here.
you can still go for a jog. You
I
know, you
know.
probably got the light shining in. And,
Right.
You know.
Y'all are winding down. I'm winding up. So I get
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. So I guess, you know, what would be the biggest takeaway from this conversation, Renisha, in terms of like overall mental health? You know, it's no cookie cutter for just one person, but I guess if you can just kind of generalize the importance of it, and people that don't know where to start, you know, aside from the website, you know, like, is it that internal, like, kind of like, how am I feeling? Do I think that therapy is something that's needed? Like, I guess if you can kind of like give us kind of a wrap up on it.
Sure. Check in with yourself. No one knows ourselves better than we do. We're always checking in on others. It's okay to check in with ourselves. You know, I check in with myself, and I, you know, am I okay? You know, asking yourself, are you okay? We're quick to ask someone else, are they okay? But are you asking yourself, are you okay?
I love that.
You know, so being okay with that, being okay with, like your son said, not being okay.
Yes.
You know, having that insight to do that. There's nothing at all wrong with that. That self-talk is very, very crucial as we move through this thing called life.
Yeah.
You know,
because a lot of
Just
time
having
we're moving,
right,
you know. Yeah.
right. And then talk to yourself. And I learned this because I went through therapy. I went through life coaching and all of that. And the biggest takeaway was to talk to myself like I would talk to my friend.
Right. Right.
So I don't talk negative to my friend, not someone who I call my dear friend, and they're having a hard time. I don't call my friend stupid.
Mhm.
I don't say to my friend, "Oh, that was a dumb decision." You know, all the things that we say to
Right.
ourselves.
Internal talking.
Right.
That negative self-talk.
Right.
Yeah.
That negative self-talk. So learn how to flip that around and talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. That was one of the interventions I would do with my patients when I was providing therapy. I would take a scenario and I say, okay, tell me something that that you did that you didn't like. And they told me the whole thing. I said, what were some of the things you said about yourself? And I'm stupid, I'm dumb. They went down the whole list. I said, okay, so who's your best friend? And they'll tell me. I said, and then I would role play. I'm your best friend. I just had this situation. I messed up. I did this. What would you say back to me? And it was totally different. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, things happen. And then it would be like a light bulb going off. Like, wow,
Isn't it? It's crazy how we as human can treat people better than we treat ourselves.
Right. Right. But that's something where it's kind of ingrained in us. So you have to do the work and have that level of awareness that you can turn it around. And that's where therapy helps. A good therapist is going to help you see that and have you turn it around and stop those negative thoughts from the gate so that you're immediately turning it around, and then you can make it more external and not internal.
Okay.
That is wonderful. Guys, I hope that everyone watching this live, like starting tonight.
Tonight before you go to bed.
I love that. Just kind of, because we say we want to be our own personal cheerleader, but I know it's human nature that we're our worst critic. You know what I mean?
We can be.
Yeah.
We can be.
Yeah. Wow. That's good. That's good. Well, this has been a much needed conversation. I love you dearly. I love both of you guys.
I love you too. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah. This is not going to be the last time we have you on here.
Hey, I'm here for it.
Now, I guess I know that you're a traveling
I am
therapist, and you've kind of made your way around the globe with it. I guess do you mind briefly sharing with us, because I remember at one point, and I don't know why I want to say Spain, but maybe you had, I know it was overseas somewhere.
Right.
Was it Spain?
Oh wow, it was actually it was Europe, but it was Italy.
Okay.
You were
okay.
Same continent.
So I seen some Arabic in the chat, so I don't know. I mean, we may have international people watching us, so she travels. She has her passport, So
I have collecting stamps.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this has really been a really great conversation. Do you have any last words, Tasha, before we get off? And thank you again, Ronisha. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for coming on and bringing so much value to the conversation.
This was just awesome. This was awesome and amazing, much needed. Thank you so much, Renisha, for coming on. We have to have you back soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm here for
really
it.
enjoyed you.
We and again, definitely will have you back. And see, we travel too. So you never know, Pretty in Peace, we may be in LA.
Let me know when the tour starts so I can jump on board.
Yes,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely will have you on board, because I know that, Ronisha is a traveler. I can't keep up with her, So I already know that once Pretty in Peace takes off and we start traveling city to city,
I'll be calling when you need me. Where we at?
Right.
I'll open for y'all and everything.
I love it. I appreciate it. Well, this is a wrap for episode 4 of Pretty in Peace, Not in Pieces, a healing podcast with Tahita and Tasha. Thank you again, Ronisha, for joining us tonight. Thank everyone that